Now, when it comes to using charitable trusts rather than your revocable living trust to pass monies down to charity, a charitable trust is what we call a standalone trust. But you'll notice that it gets set up exactly the same way that your revocable living trust does. It is a two-step process. So the first process, of course, is to create the trust itself, and we'll go over the details with you on exactly how you would like that laid out, and we'll put that into the document exactly as you tell us to do so. Now, we also need to fund the trust, which means we have to decide what asset you're going to donate to charity and therefore title under the name of that charitable type trust. So the creation process for the charitable trust is very much the same as setting up your own revocable living trust. Yes, you as the donor of the property to the trust, you are the maker of that trust, so you will be in a sense called the trustor. You also can be the manager of the trust, so you'll be in control of managing the charitable trust, even though you are putting property into that charitable trust ultimately to benefit charity. So as you can see, you as trustor, you will remain the maker of the trust, and you can remain the trustee throughout your lifetime. And if you design the trust in such a way where it outlasts you for a term of years beyond your lifetime, you'll have, of course, a successor trustee who will step in at death or your incompetency, just like a revocable living trust. So with that in mind, what is the difference between a charitable trust and a revocable living trust? Well, just like the titles say, a revocable living trust means it's revocable. That means you, as the maker of that trust and the manager of that trust, have the power to amend and change it. With a charitable trust, this is an irrevocable type trust. Once it's set up, it's in stone. However, you will now have yearly management. You will have to acquire a federal tax ID number, which we of course do for you, and so you will have to file a separate tax return on the charitable trust every year under that federal tax ID number. With your revocable living trust, everything is reported to the IRS under your own Social Security number. So there is some yearly management when it comes to a charitable trust. What you're doing is, literally gifting the asset that you're going to put into that charitable trust away from you. And that's the reason for it being irrevocable with the federal tax ID number and having its own tax return. So the actual transfer process itself really boils down to what we want to put into the charitable trust. Now, typically speaking, it is highly appreciating assets and or real estate. Real estate, usually when it gets donated into the charitable trust, will get sold within that charitable trust. And then as a result of the sales proceeds stay in the charitable trust where you're the manager, the trustee, and then you invest it. And you invest it for ultimately what we get out of the charitable trust itself. Highly appreciating assets, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, those are typical that could be put into it. However, when we get I should say a little more complicated with my more sophisticated clients, typically what we can also put into a charitable trust is certain interest in either a family limited partnership or interest within a limited liability company. And that's when we get into having a lot of fun, in my opinion, on how to plan, how to set up these documents, and how to make it worth your while for a family and especially for the charity.